fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my God, it's people helping people!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another amazing episode of People Helping People. Yeah. Feels good. We are on episode number 7 of chapter 3, and holy smokes, time is a-flying. It is unreal that, for one, we've made it to chapter 3, and we've worked through so many hardships along the way to be able to do what we do. And I just want to thank everybody who's been here, been involved in this movement, and has stuck with us through everything that we've done. So this one's for you guys. I'm so excited for this episode today. Oh man, it is going to be a good one. We have an incredible guest waiting for you guys patiently. If it is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. If you're coming back, welcome back. Here at People Helping People, we interview business owners, artists, musicians, difference makers, shakers in the communities. And we look behind the curtains. We figure out their why, their reasoning for doing what they do, what gives them purpose, in hopes to inspire you guys to make the leap in whatever lane it is that you want to embark on, whatever journeys that you see ahead of you that sound enticing, hopefully helping you find some passion and some a little bit more knowledge and wherewithal. If you want to make that leap, tune into the show and maybe we can help you guys out. So before we bring on the guest tonight, tonight's show is sponsored by Mike Cylkowski, sponsored by T-Town Boxing, and also sponsored by the Diabetes Network of Arizona. And we will touch more on that later. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. This is an exciting day. And if you joined us last show with the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Dreams, man, do we have some technical difficulties. So we've made some renovations to the studio here to try and keep our camera cool. And let's just hope we don't have any Wi-Fi issues on this episode. But we're out here rolling with the punches. And that's just what it is sometimes, you know. We're live and we just do things off the cuff here. So without further ado, though, I don't want to waste too much time. Our guest is patiently waiting right now to jump on the show, and I am so honored and excited to have this guest on the show today. Man, she is a serial entrepreneur. She has a background in so many different things, and it has led her to build this incredible business. And I am just so excited to dive deep into her reasoning why and how things came to be, how things came to fruition for her. And I'm just so happy that, you know, she reached out and that she's here to have a conversation with us today. Give me just a moment, you guys. Sorry, I just completely botched your introduction. I want to make sure that we have all the info here that we need. There we go. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Amanda Van Den Elzen. There she is. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. It's an honor. And I look forward to diving deep into the serial entrepreneur lifestyle that you live. You know, you reached out to me and I'm so happy that you did because I come from, I lived in Oregon and we have motocross and you know, we're taking our trucks up into the woods all the time. And my family in particular is big into the Baja. So that, you know, at 13 years old, I run 143 miles in a portion of the Baja 1000. And so you reached out to me and you were talking about your business, and we'll dive into that in a moment. And I just got so excited. I just was like, let's get on the phone. Let's see if we can make this happen. And here you are. So thank you so much for being here.
It's so funny. I think that motorsports people find motorsports people even when they're not looking.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so for the people that don't know, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Amanda Van Den Elzen. My husband and I, we live just outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we're here in the central time zone, trying to stay awake. but so I run a couple of businesses, but they kind of have stemmed from this strange spiral called life. Um, Professionally, I have experience in corporate learning and development, so that's kind of where I've been traditionally trained, and what I went to school for is the HR side of things. But my husband and I, we run a professional short course off road team. He races professionally. I am an extremely novice racer. Please don't make me talk about my accolades in the race car. But what I have learned is the motorsports marketing side of that. So we grew our team from nothing up to fully funded. And in doing so, we learned so much that I wanted to share more with racers. So I brought my learning side into my motorsports side, and I started a business called Racer on Demand, which is a passion project of mine, trying to get racers to understand more how to fund their programs and make more meaningful connections with their fans and their business partners. I've also recently exited the corporate role, and I am out on my own. Oh, it's terrifying. This is a couple years
Yes.
before I would have made that choice, but it's just how the stars aligned. And now I'm doing freelance training. I just delivered my very first paid training yesterday to a group of real estate agents, and
Wow.
so well. I'm so excited, but it's a big leap right now. So
Yes, congratulations. I got to give you one of these.
thank you.
Everyone needs a clap track, you know?
I
Yeah.
need that. Yeah, I just need like a little clicker, I think.
On demand. Yeah, you could even just wear headphones, just have it for yourself, you know? You
Yes.
make that shot that nobody sees and just
Yes.
Well, man, there's so many things to unpack here because you said that you came from the corporate world. And what was your title in that corporate world?
So my more recent title was Learning and Development Manager of Technical Skills, which is a mouthful. But more or less, that just means that I trained people on emerging technologies and the technical side of things to help them do their jobs better.
Wow. Okay. All right. And then you discovered racing through meeting your husband. Can you kind of walk me through that? Was he the one that was racing before into trucks, or how did that collaboration begin?
Yeah, so I met my husband in 2014. We dated for a whole 6 weeks before I decided I was moving in because we lived 3 hours apart, and we knew it was working. So um, we just jumped right in. When I met him, he was doing rally racing, and he was in competitive drifting. And I was a car person. I actually worked in automotive repair for about a decade before I got into my corporate role.
Nice.
And when I moved up here, I was working for a car dealership just in the service department and whatnot. So I have that automotive background. So racing wasn't foreign to me, but I was not in that scene either. So when I met him, he was building these crazy drift cars and competing in them. And about a year into us dating, he said, I think I want to get into off road racing. And I said, what's off road racing?
Yeah, break that down for me. What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that means. So he showed me some crazy videos of like Johnny Greaves and Kyle LeDuc, just the legends in our sport. And I was like, you're going to get one of those? He's like, no, I can't afford a Pro 4. I'm going to get a light buggy, which for those people who don't know what that means, it's basically a stock Volkswagen Beetle with no body, no nothing. It's just a tube chassis with Volkswagen components. It's like 50 horsepower. right? And so he trades some project cars for this buggy, and he and one of our crew guys, they build it in the garage. And I'm like, what are you doing? You went from 500 horsepower, like going sideways at 100 miles per hour to like, I'm not really sure this thing can go faster than 60, you
Yeah, can
know?
you make it up this hill right now?
Yeah. Yes. So, out here in Wisconsin, there's a big car show called Automotion. It's out in the Wisconsin Dells, and it's huge. And I was big in like the car show scene when I met him. And so I went to this car show with my friends, and he took the light buggy out to Crandon, which is one of our most iconic tracks. And I get a text message from him, and it says, I've taken 500 horsepower drift cars sideways through a fence, and I've never had more fun in my life than I just did with a 50 horsepower buggy off of a jump. And I was like, well, this is what we're doing now. And that is what we've done for the last 8 years is we've lived in this off-road space, and it's become more than just a sport. It's a family. Everybody in this sport is just so connected. It's not, there are some motorsports where people just don't get along. They don't help each other, and there's not that camaraderie. And this sport is not that. We've experienced that, and everybody just, you could be the fiercest competitor, but if you blow your motor out there, like, we're going to give you a motor, you're going to give us a motor to make sure that we beat you on the track. And it's so cool. We live here forever now.
Yes, I love that there's that community out there, and I can relate to that because growing up racing motocross, it really felt that way. You know, it was such a niche thing for people to do, and so the people that did come together to do that, it was a very family, camaraderie driven sport. And yeah, if there was ever any issues, you know, somebody would give you gas right there. If you got a flat tire, they'd be changing your tire out for you. And it was for the love of the sport. And everybody wanted to see everybody on the track. And, you know, it was a very expensive sport too. So to be able to be out there was a hardship on the family in the first place. And then you'd have something go awry, but you've got, you know, Johnny next door here and you know, the other kid on the other side, and they're helping you out. So that's so cool that you guys found that community out there and realized that it's not something you want to stray away from. I love that.
Yes, yeah, and, you know, motocross is the same people because they just they decide they want a cage and they come to off-road. So, you know, we're describing the same community.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm curious because you guys found this community. He's driving this stock buggy with a roll cage. He's hitting jumps for the first time and is like, well, we found it. This is it. Like, nothing's more fun than, I'm sure, bouncing in a seat in trying to, you know, protect your own life as you're going around this track in something that's not supposed to go fast or jump to begin with. And so you guys dove headfirst into that, and that was your guys' new lane. When did it start to become a business or making this transition from a fun hobby sport to being something that you guys are just really going to dive into full time?
Yes. So, I was a stranger to off-road, but Chris, he grew up with it. His dad actually had raced off-road when he was little. He started racing it back in the 70s, and he got out when my husband was 3 to raise the kids, and he just kind of retired from it, but they still spectated it and stuff. So, you know, my husband started racing, and that same event where he texted me saying he had so much fun, his dad went with him, and it wasn't, I don't know, more than a couple months later, his dad was back in a car too. So,
Oh, I love that. That's
yes.
great.
Yes, and then it was, gosh, I don't know, probably a couple months after that, his brother was in a car with him too. So we very quickly had a team versus just my husband in it. And that was 8 years ago that we started. And the first, you know, year and a half or so, he was in this light buggy, and then his dad, he bought a super buggy, which is like a class 10 car in the desert. So it's a, they used to be based off of Volkswagens. Now they have Chevy motors in them, but they're 4-cylinder and basically like the unlimited buggy class for short course off-road. They're these big, like, they look like water bugs because they've got these big arms hanging off with open wheels. But it's a lot more like driving a couch than like driving a stock Volkswagen. So as soon as my husband got in his dad's super buggy, which now they call them pro buggies, but as soon as he got in, he was like, well, I'm getting one of these. Like, I'm not racing that light buggy anymore.
This comfort
Uh,
is where it's at.
yes, exactly. Exactly. And my husband is an amazing fabricator and designer. And they bought this first super buggy, and he said, I can make something so much better. So he went wild. And most of these cars, they're rear engine, and the handling on them as they go around corners, because all that weight is in the back, is somewhat unpredictable at times. And he said, I can make something really cool. And he designed a mid-engine pro buggy. And that was really how he showcased his talents at that point in time. This was 3 years into our off-road journey. And he got, some recognition for doing crazy things, and being able to like drive this buggy that was mid-engine like no other car out there. Like, even if you didn't see how different it looked, which it looked very different, you'd see how different it drove out there. It was able to enter corners really differently. And so he started getting recognized for that. But also, we're in a higher level class at that point, and it started to cost more too. And we've got, at this point, his brother, his dad, and him all racing. We're starting to move up to the pro pit areas, which are really expensive to be in. But we're like, man, if we want fans, we've got to be visible. We've got to be up front. Let's start making this investment. But the investment didn't return dollars back just by moving where we were or by moving to a different class. And we started to think about, like, what do we actually need to do to bring in money? And then they announced a truck class that didn't exist previously. And Chris said, if I want to get into the actual pro ranks, this is how I do it. This is right up my alley. It's innovative, it's fresh, it's new, and it's a spec class, which means that I get to showcase my driving versus just designing a better car. And me being the race wife, I said, absolutely not. What if it's not worth anything in 2 years because it's brand new? What if it flops? And he said, it's not going to. It's not going to. And it didn't. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
But we're like, man, if we got to get into this pro class, how the heck are we going to pay the bills for this? And at that point, our team had started to get a reputation. We are who we are, and that's part of a brand, right? But then we started getting really intentional about our brand. And I remember I was at work one day, and at the point in time, I was working in my corporate role, but I was kind of at the low end of the totem pole there. I worked in our call center selling tires, but I was playing on paint in between incoming calls, and I designed our VDE Racing logo in Microsoft Paint. And I sent it to him, and I was like, I think we need to just consistently have like an image for us. And it's stuck, and we've been using it ever since. But I think that was really kind of the start of our brand. And once we started to put our brand out there, we also painted and wrapped all of our cars purple. So everything that you see VDE Racing, like, people call us the purple team. And, that's stuck. And so now we've got these visual indicators of who we are. We've built this reputation of just kind of how we are, right? And we're there as a family, and we try to be really approachable and help people grow into the sport. And so we started, really leaning into who we were, both visually and just what makes us us. And once we started to get really intentional about that, we were able to start to swing that towards companies that aligned with those values too. And so as we moved into the pro ranks, we started to see kind of the fruit of our labor on that, being able to start funding our program. And I'm happy to say that 4 years into our professional program, we're getting to the point where not only is it paying for our entire race career, my husband is part-time. Like I said, I just stepped away from my job. Like, this is becoming life for us, not just a hobby. And it's been such a cool transition.
That is beautiful. There's that clap track for
The
you.
little
It's
clicker,
just like,
yes.
yes. That is really incredible, because I feel as though so many people take their passions and it is always secondary to the things that they love. And I guess this brings me to because I really want to dive into some of the roadblocks and things like that, that you had to overcome over time. But what would you have to say to somebody that is doing something in the background for their passion, working full time, having this thing on the side. Is it an amount of time that you need to be doing those? Is it an amount of advocacy for yourself with marketing? What would you say to somebody that is just utilizing their passion as a side project?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above, but I really wanna stress that you're gonna see people that are really successful doing what you wanna do, and you're only going to see the fascia, and that is that success, right?
Mm.
But I will be the first one to tell you that there has been a lot of nights of crying, right? There's been a lot of no's from partners. There's been stresses on our marriage that we've always grown stronger through, but at the time it's not fun, right? Right now, we're prepping to get where Chris is building a two-seater truck that we're going to be bringing to SEMA, and we've got to have it ready in 2 weeks. He leaves, and it's not done yet, right? So I haven't seen my husband basically since we returned from California 2 weeks ago because he's in the shop and he's building. And I just want to say, like, that investment in yourself, whether that's the time, the money, learning, right? All the energy that you dump into this stuff, like it is a lot. And when you see other people living out their dreams and it looks easy, I just want to say, like, it's not easy, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed about that, because it's really overwhelming. And I think we've lived in probably a state of overwhelm for the last 5 years, and I don't think it's gonna stop, because we're on this exponential growth, right now. But
Yeah.
um, just
Yeah.
keep investing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. Thank you for that. And it's so true. With anything that I've done, the front end, the pouring of the foundation, I always relate it to building a home because there's so many different pieces of the structure before you finally get a finished product. And then once that product looks and feels finished, then you realize, well, we could knock down this wall or change it. There's always something to add on.
Mhm.
And taking the time to advocate for yourself and knowing that you've done such a great job at that. Obviously, it's panning out, and it's like, I'm sure the weight's lifted, but with that weight comes all these other burdens as well. It continues to pile on. It's nonstop. So I want to tip my hat to you for getting through those storms. And it takes a very strong person to persevere through those and then to continue after the fact and realizing that everything on your plate is what you asked for. And you're like, geez, is it what I
Yeah.
asked for?
It's hard sometimes to take a step back and celebrate, right? Like, Chris and I, we have to be really intentional about, let's just take a really quick step back. Like, this is really hard work right now, but holy cow, look at what we have. Look at what we've built, and look at all the people we've inspired along the way.
What are some of the ways that you guys do celebrate? How do you pat yourselves on the back?
Oh God, we're so bad at it, honestly.
Me too. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I think most of the time it's just acknowledging it, like taking a minute or two to just talk through how cool it is. Like, I texted him, this is like this is so silly. I texted him because as I was waiting in the waiting room during our little 5-minute countdown, Kelly Earnhardt Miller responded to my Instagram story, and then we were just chatting about cats, right? I
Yeah.
know, she's a legend, but
Yeah.
she's also one of our competitors' moms,
Yeah.
and and she's a wonderful human being. And we're just casually chatting because, like, that's just another person in our race family now. And I texted him and I was like, holy shit, like, take a step back right now and just think about the amazing connections that we've built in these things that we take for granted, and just the
Yeah.
the people that we get to see and talk to and pick their brains. And they say that if you want to become a millionaire, put yourself in a room full of millionaires. And man, we want to become race legends. Like, look at these people that we're surrounding ourselves with, and it's amazing.
I love that. I'm so happy that you said that. It just is so relatable for so many different people, and I hope people are taking that home with them, just to surround yourself with the people that you aspire to be. And Yeah, I feel so selfish with this podcast because I get to sit down with people like you. I get to sit down with great minds of people that are doing amazing things in communities and for themselves, for their families, and pick their brain. So I just appreciate you sharing that with us, and I want to dive a little bit into the business portion of things, right? So I see this evolution. I see how it all came to fruition, and it's just it feels like such an organic growth trajectory. The way that you guys just came together and found this thing, and then the families involved, and realizing that there's holes in the system that you guys needed to solve in order to make the system work for you. And I want to talk about some of the businesses that have sparked from that and why they sparked from that. So yeah, if you could walk me through maybe one of the businesses that has sparked and why you started it.
Yeah. So obviously, VDE Racing itself is a business for us, but um, like I said, my passion is really in the space of helping people learn and grow, and that was really inward facing while we built VDE Racing, while we were learning and growing. But once we started to kind of figure it out, not that we have it all figured out, but once we started to, I was like, I can tell other people this. And I launched Racer on Demand a little over a year ago. We're at about a year and a half now, the beginning of our race season last year. And what that is it's twofold. We have an online merch marketplace where racers can host their logos on shirts and hats and stuff. And for free, they get to put that out on the web, and fans get to purchase it. When those fans make a purchase, the racers get 20% of every sale. And then I handle the on-demand production and shipping and all of that coordination. So the racer really doesn't have to do much of anything other than make those connections with the fans to sell their stuff. And this kind of was the hook for me, right? Like, this is how I wanted to draw racers in, because I'm solving a problem of high overhead costs for buying merch. A lot of racers, they'll buy in bulk. They have this huge upfront expenditure, then they don't have the right sizes, or they don't make the sales, and they're wasting money on merch. And when they do sell it, they're selling it at a loss. And when I did some research before I launched this, the number one reason that fans bought merch from a racer wasn't because it looked cool or because they wanted the shirt. It was because they wanted to financially support the racer. But racers are actually spending money to get merch out there, and it really didn't add up. So I fixed that. But all of the racers who sign up to sell with me, I also pump them full of resources to learn
What do you
how to
mean by that?
build.
What do you mean by sign up to sell with you?
Yes. So the way that they put their stuff up on my website is they can sign up. I reach out to them. I say, hey, send me your files. If you don't have a design, let's get one made. I've got connections to, like, we use Fiverr artists to get designs made and stuff. But once
Sure.
they've got an art file and everything, then we just get it up and out there. So when I say sign up, it's free. I'm not charging my racers stuff. Like, my number one goal is to put money in racers' pockets, not take it out. So
Love that.
um, so that's what I mean by that. But when they sign up, I've got free and discounted resources for them so that they can learn how to make better connections with fans. And that's things like social media. How the heck do I make posts that are actually engaging and not just like happy Monday? Guess what? It's hump day,
Yeah, right. They're racers. They're not out here like producing their videos.
Exactly, but they
Yeah.
need to be. They need to
Yes.
be. So I've got stuff like that. I've got resources to help them learn what an actual return looks like for the companies that they're chasing down and trying to get money from. Because, newsflash, a sticker on a car doesn't actually mean anything to a company anymore.
Mm.
So I help them understand that kind of thing. And then more recently, as of like today, I've got some resources for products for their cars as well, which is going to be in the pipeline. And I'm super excited for that to play out. But I've been approached by a pretty notable company that wants to be involved and help our racers too. So, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I love it. That is so cool. And so you're doing all of the print. You've really niched down, and that's what's interesting because I see a lot of t-shirt companies and things like that just printing for the masses.
Mhm.
And you've niched down to something. So I'm sure that you have one or two Fiverr artists that you use that have the style that you like. And what does your process look like for getting people their merchandise? So say I
Yeah.
sign up with you, I'm a racer, I need some help, right? I not only need merch, but I need some help in the social media aspect and things like that. Can you walk me through the process of what it looks like for somebody to set that up and then people to order?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I am a one-woman show, so you best believe that I outsource things, but not everything. So, I try to put my time and my energy in the places where I'm making that connection with the racer. So, from when you sign up to when we get you listed, you're only talking to me.
Mm,
And with the exception of if you need a design, you'll work with the designer through Fiverr, but I help with that, just getting that communication started. So, um, when you sign up, I reach out and I say, "Hey, when you signed up, you said A, you need a design made, or B, you've already got a design. What do you want to put it on? You know, what are your team colors and what kind of products do you want? We can do like sublimation, like this kind of stuff. We can do direct to garment and film and whatnot. Like we've got so many options through our fulfillment partner. And I'm not shy to say, like, I'm not printing t-shirts, right? I go through an online fulfillment partner. Here's the link. Pick out what you like. Like, I don't care if
yeah.
you see the prices because I'm really transparent about what I'm going to pay you based out of my sell price, right? Like, I'm not here to get rich off of
A
this.
labor of love. Yeah. Yeah. You're helping
Yes.
the community that has helped you along the way.
Exactly, exactly, and you know what? I am taking enough that I am, not losing money on Racer on Demand. That's where I'm
Good.
at, but,
Good.
so, we get that kind of stuff set up, and then I sit there, and for a couple of hours, I load it all up into my storefront, and, what's really cool, I think, is it's more discoverable when we're all in one place, right? If you say, well, you've got your own storefront, here's your link. It's not connected to anything else. You just have to post this link. Um, that's fine. But when I say you can just go to racerondemand.us and you can type your name in the search bar, or you can say, this is the class that I race and the series that I race, and you can drill down, people can discover that. Which means that even if they don't have a direct link to you as a racer, they can say, oh, I was at this race. I saw that purple car. There it is on the website. I really liked that one. I'm going to buy it. Right.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's kind of that side of things. And then you go on my email list. And
Mm.
um, I used to do weekly blog posts. That's how I got all my info out. But let's be realistic, people don't read. Um, they
So
hopefully they can read, but they don't.
right, yeah.
Um, so one of the people that I've been working with through the affiliate stuff, so like the people who are on my site as resources to racers, whether that's like has a template for a proposal or something, or if they can do like a sponsorship deck for you, right? Like I've got those people on there. I make affiliate off of what we sell there, and I'm very open about the fact that that's how we make money. Because I'm also getting discounts for our racers too. So everybody's winning in this space.
Yes, I love it.
But one of the people that I've partnered with there, her name is Megan Meyer. She is a two-time NHRA drag racing champion. She and I have very recently recorded our very first podcast episode. Those podcasts are going to be bi-weekly. Yay!
Nice. Give me one of those. Let's go.
Yes. Um, and what's really cool is she's bringing her expertise, and she is really good on the social media side of things. She runs the social media for her and her dad's drag race team. And that's how they pay for their seasons. That's how they pay their bills, is through the money that they're getting from their partners for their social media. So she's taking that expertise in. I'm taking the expertise kind of from, frankly, we don't do most of our stuff on social media. A lot of our stuff is more of that experiential activation for our partners. So we're kind of coming at this from different angles, and now we get to share a broader expertise with those racers. So those podcasts are going to be coming really soon.
Well, we look forward to it. Do you have a name for the podcast?
Oh, okay. So this is a fun one.
Drum roll,
The
please.
27th, yes, on the 27th, we're going to release our first episode without a name, and we are asking our audience to help us choose the name. We've got it narrowed down to 4 of them.
I love that. Yes. That interaction is so important. Like, that's what I love about this show. And speaking of which, we got some people jumping in here that I have to acknowledge. Rich is out there. He says, "Good evening, all. Hope you're having a great day in this beautiful thing that we call life. Sorry I'm late." He was outside working on his septic system. It's okay, Rich. He's a legend. He's always here. We love Rich. Good to see you. Lars Ward, just switching from Facebook to YouTube. He says, just got home. He just got off work. Nice. Welcome in. We appreciate you being here. But yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about some advice. If you could give your younger self when you first started the on-demand service, what advice would you give yourself now that you've acquired all this knowledge? How could you have better done that?
Yeah. Okay. So it's funny because I preach to my racers all the time that not everyone is their customer,
Mm,
and that not every sponsor is their sponsor, right? And um, when I started Racer on Demand, I mean, this was only a year and a half ago, but I've learned a lot since then.
sure.
Um, it was very much like, oh, that person's selling merch with that service, like, why aren't they going with us? And then I really had to shift my mindset to be more like, that's not my customer then, right? Maybe they don't care about the educational side of things. Maybe they're really, really happy with having this as a hobby.
Mm,
And, like, I think if I can get 1 out of every 10 racers that signs up with us to be interested in the resources that we have to offer, that's gonna be a win. Instead of saying to myself, like, "Man, not everybody's reading my blog posts. Not everybody is taking advantage of these really cool resources that we have to offer." Um,
mhm.
I
Yeah,
think that would be the advice I give myself.
no, that's great advice. That's great advice because if you're looking to catch every single fish in the pond, it's going to take a lot of different types of bait. And if you just learn to catch the fish that you want to catch, that is best for you, that you enjoy eating and is easy to fillet and you like to cook up. I mean, all these things, you have to use a specific type of bait.
Yes.
And and I think that a lot of business owners in general, and I know myself included, I've started a lot of businesses over the years. You want everybody. You want everybody to be on board with you, and that is the most important thing. But then you realize that niching down is really the most important thing, to find your audience, find your community, and find the people that really ride for you too.
Mhm.
And that brings me to the educational portion of that business, which is really intriguing to me because you've meshed all these worlds together. Talk to me a little bit about the educational aspect. Give me a breakdown of that, and yeah, let's break that down.
Yeah, so I will say this is the space where I feel like we have the most opportunity. I think we're doing some in that space, but I have grand visions, maybe visions of delusions, I don't know, but but where I have grand visions in the space of how we can educate our racers. So, right now I've got over a year's worth of blog posts out there, and each of them is meant to be read in the like 5 to 7 minutes or so, and they break down some challenging concepts for racers. There's a lot of mindset shift that needs to happen from the I need money to race, so businesses should give me money to race,
Mm,
versus the I need money to race, so I need to figure out what my value is and how to sell that as a product to a business. But also, like, when it comes to fans, like, how do I even build a brand that a fan wants to engage with and follow and be loyal to, right? So those blog posts are the biggest resource that I have out there right now in that educational space. I will also say that the sellers that I have, the ones who are interested in growing, I have never turned down a conversation or a question or, them picking my brain. I am a wide open book on how we built our program, and the things that our sponsors find valuable. It was really cool this year. I had one of our youth racers. We have a lot of youth racers that have signed up with us. Their parents have signed them up with us. But
I love that.
yes, me too. It's not what I was expecting, but it's so fulfilling to see them grow. But one of them, the parents reached out to me and they said, "Okay, we got a call with this company that, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. We've got an audience and I have no idea where to even start. Like, this is all new to us. What do I do?" So they called me like a couple days before they had this meeting and we walked through. Like, I was like, don't pitch anything. Just ask 1 million questions. Find out what they actually want from you and where they're going to find value. Come back and then let's regroup. And
Mm.
so they did. They asked all these questions and they said, "Well, this is what they want, but like, how do I even come back with a proposal?" And I said, "Okay, let's just break this down. What would they have to pay for that if they were paying somebody who's not a racer to do that thing for them?" And so, okay, that's a good value then. Take that value and that's what you'll charge, right? And they were like, "Okay, but we need X dollars to move up to the next class." I said, "Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you need at all. What matters is what you can provide to them." And it was really cool because when they did get turned down on their proposal, but they got turned down with a, "We can't make it work in this budget, but
Ah,
let's keep
nice.
talking for next year."
Mhm.
And they were like, "Well, do you think that was just them, like, brushing us off?" I was like, "Nope, they left that door wide open." And so the last event of the year that they raced at, they were so excited to tell me that they got a one event, payout from this company so that they could represent them just at this one event. Yes.
That's so
Yes.
good.
And I am so excited to see what that grows into. But, things like that, like, it took me, I don't know, maybe 2 hours of my life to walk these guys through from start to finish of what this process looked like, and a couple of Facebook messages back and forth. Like, it didn't cost me anything. It didn't cost them anything, but I was able to knowledge share with them just some guidance. And not that I have it all figured out, but I've done this a couple times.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm at this point really hopeful to just get my guidance out there. I, like I said, have some big visions for what this educational thing turns into. What I really want to do is build out a certification, a racer on demand certification where they can, ping this expert and they can take this course and maybe they can work with this program with a vendor and after they do all these things and learn each little piece, then they get this badge. And I really want that badge to mean something to companies where they say, "Oh, that person went through the Racer on Demand certification. They know how to provide value. I'm going to consider them as a sponsored athlete over the ones that don't have it."
That is so good. Come on. So good. That just gave me chills. Like the thought of being able to open up the doors to anybody because gosh, yeah, open the doors to anybody and everybody who's willing and able to take in the knowledge that you've already learned and you're looking to pass on. And being that you have not only the ecosystem that you're building out, but the foundation that you've poured, transferring that to these companies to say, you know what, if they're stamped with this, if they have the certificate, the seal of approval, then the odds of them being sponsored are that much greater because of it. And that's just, gosh, that is so inspiring. So inspiring.
It's going to take so much work. I mean, the partners that we work with, it's not unusual for them to come to us and say, "Hey, so and so reached out from your sport. Do you know them? Are they good?"
Mm.
And I hate to say that a lot of times in our sport, they're not really knowledgeable on how to provide a return, right?
Yeah.
Um, but how cool would it be that they don't have to reach out to us individually? They just say, "Oh, they went through the Racer on Demand certification." Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, and it like you said, I mean, that is going to be trudging through the mud for a while, but it sounds like you have all the building blocks to be able to make something like that happen. And that is
I
such an
hope so.
incredible mission. And I just feel as though I wouldn't even know where to start with half of what, if I was to become a racer or anything. So to have a resource like you, just not only with the branding and I mean, it just is really incredible. And I want to lend my audience to you, or my previous guests to you as well. If you ever need help in space, whatever space it may be, and you have a question, reach out. If I can connect you with somebody, like I have somebody that does, if you don't want to do Fiverr, I have somebody that does brand logo making and things like that, and
Oh,
branding.
yeah.
So, I mean, things like that, if you ever come up on a hardship of some sort and it's like, man, I don't know who to contact, just let me know. Because I
I
sit here and I
appreciate that.
talk to great people all the time, like yourself. So it's like, that's what people helping people is all about, is like just
Yes.
intertwining the web of good people with good people. So
Yes.
we are
Yes,
here
I
for
will
you.
take you up on that.
You absolutely should, for sure. Kayla
And
Coffee Studios. She says, like and subscribe. Thank you. I always forget. Do that. Thank you, Kayla. We appreciate you.
And I see
Um,
Rich, his little comment in here. Thank you. I'm glad to get your brain turning on something that you might not have thought of before.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're doing the same for me. And that's why these conversations are so important, in broadening our horizons and having more ears and eyes on the show is an important thing, because there are kids out there that are aspiring to do whatever it is I mean, just the on demand. I think it's so interesting to niche on demand down to one category, but to pair that with education is such a unique lane to take. So good on you.
Thank you. That was the first idea. Honestly, we had so our sport has seen some ups and downs, and it was potentially on its way out. We didn't know if short course racing was going to exist really beyond grassroots stuff, even just a couple years ago. And there was, we'll call him a messiah figure that stepped in and promised the world to racers a couple years ago and said, "I'm going to make short course huge." And one of the things that he was promising was resources for racers on how to
Mm.
do a lot of this stuff. And let's just say this crumbled before it even started.
Oh no.
And when it did, it damn near took our sport with it, and it was really a scary time. But I remembered the resources that he wanted to provide, and I was like, somebody has to pick that up. Like, we can't
Yes.
just let that go. And so the on-demand merch came as a way to drag racers in, because a lot of them don't know they need to know this stuff. But that was really where I was like, we need that. That is the piece that I'm going to deliver, and I don't know the vessel yet, but that's how it came about.
That's really incredible. Really incredible. Um, oh, Rich asks us, he says, I'm sorry I missed the beginning of the show, but where are you located? What city?
Yes, I am in Seymour, Wisconsin, actually outside of Seymour, Wisconsin, in the middle of nowhere. So if you see my Wi-Fi flicker, it's because I am relying on Starlink, and
It's
but
doing
we are,
great.
yeah, so far so good. There's been a couple of little things where I'm like, I'm really glad he's talking right now and not me. But no, we're about 15 minutes west of Lambeau Field.
Very nice. Thank you for the question, Rich. We appreciate you guys being here. Angela C, she says, I'm a little late, but hi all. Welcome in, Angela. Thank you for being here. Gosh, what an inspiring conversation. So now you have this full-fledged business. You're educating people. You're doing the print on demand. You guys have a race team that's being funded by sponsors, which you're educating other people to be able to do the same thing. Come on. So good. So what are the plans moving forward? You said that you have this mountainous dream, and it just seems to be something that you're working towards. So let's talk about it.
Yes. So, full disclosure, Racer on Demand right now is, I don't want to call it an afterthought, but it's certainly on a side burner while I figure out how the heck we're going to pay our bills.
Yes.
Walking walking away from corporate is a scary thing, and unfortunately, the company I worked there just shy of 10 years. In March, it would have been 10 years. And they went to 4 days a week in office with no opportunity for work from home anymore. And with all of the travel that we do for racing, we live in the RV 90 plus days a year, and it just wasn't going to work. And I had to make the decision, do I give up on Racer on Demand? Do I give up on the work that I'm putting in for VDE Racing? Or do I allow them to push me out? And unfortunately, I had to leave corporate well before I was really financially prepared to do so. Um, right now, I am kind of figuring out what the heck I'm doing. And in the last couple of months, I've decided that I'm doing freelance training and coaching on the AI side of the world, which is what I trained on in the corporate world. So right now, it's kind of all hands on deck. And when I say all hands, I mean my two hands.
Every
Just
single
mine.
one of these.
Yes. These hands on deck. Trying to get that up and going and get some professional speaking gigs out there, some training gigs out there, and enough to just kind of keep the wheels on the bus. At the same time, the growth that we're seeing on the VDE side is so cool. I told Chris the other day, I was like, we have 3 meetings with 3 companies this week that, like, one of them a year ago we would have been amazed to even have an audience with, but we've got 3 of them that, like, holy crap, you know. Um, and if any one of them plays out, it's going to potentially be life changing for us. So, um, wild. It's wild. But, you know, it's trying to find that balance of where am I leaning in right now? And I'm leaning further into VDE racing. I'm leaning really far into just trying to get BetterWork is what I've named my AI training business. Um, and then Racer on Demand at this point is a little bit status quo while we get this podcast up and launched. And um, we've got the I'm not sure if you're familiar with PRI, is Performance Racing Industries. They've got a huge trade show in Indianapolis in December. I'm a member of PRI and SEMA, both they're the same company, but PRI offers their members a free advertisement in their show magazine. So I put out there, like, racers sign up. You know, I'm just trying to drive people to the resources that we have right now. Um, and really start to build a little bit more momentum with the racers that I've got on there, and, you know, getting that podcast with Megan up and going. But then the sky is the limit. Once we can kind of get a little bit more financially stable here, that is going to be a big push. Like I said, I've got a company that's really interested in reaching our racers with some pretty cool stuff
Yeah,
for their race cars. And I
it's
think
very
that
cool.
once we get that going, I'm even looking at how do I bring in companies? Because again, long game here. I want them to recognize Racer on Demand as a certification. I've got companies that have been asking me since we started, how do I sell my merch on there? And I said, nope, it's just for racers. And now I'm like, you know what? Maybe we get a vendor row going here where they're familiar enough with Racer on Demand and the resources that they're going to start picking our racers up for sponsorships. So
Absolutely. Gosh, that's so great. That was the button. That is so great. And I want to say, with all these other avenues, everything that you have going, it is inspiring to see other people in the world knowing that there are other people trying their hands at a lot of different things. And to be good at what you do while you're doing it is not always easy. To give yourself a little bit of grace along the way. And like you said, take moments to, for one, breathe, but two, zoom out. You know, look at what we're doing. Look at what is happening right now because of the hard labor and the seeds that we've watered over time. Like, you deserve that. And I'm just really excited for you. I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for the podcast. If you need help with your guys' podcast, let me know. I'll tell you everything that I know. But it gets the gears turning too, like would your education portion of racing parlay into podcasting, find sponsors for your show? Would that education portion parlay into whatever business it is that you're starting in order to find funding, in order to find sponsorships and people that are involved? Do you think that that's something that would happen?
Yeah, I do think so, especially between Megan and I, we've got such really cool connections, and whether we get straight to that sponsored piece right away or not, we can lean on those connections too to be really cool guests. And really cool guests attract audience, which attracts sponsorships. So I'm super, super excited about that. And being able to kind of mesh together my motorsports and my learning and development stuff in creative ways too. Like next week, I am speaking not to a team to train them on AI, but I'm speaking to an association of talent development people, and I'm teaching them how to use social media marketing tactics in learning and development to be more engaging. So, bringing my motorsports world into the corporate world is also just a really cool muscle that I'm learning how to flex too.
Flex it. You're doing great. Yeah. Well, if the people wanted to get in touch with you, where would they go, and how can my audience best support you?
Yeah. First off, support my racers. Go to racerondemand.us. Find a racer that aligns with your values. I have pushed them to create bios that talk about who they are and what they do. So click through, find the people that tickle your fancy. We've got some really cool youth racers. We've got some women racers. We've got people who are new to this, people who stand for different causes. We've got a couple of racers that race for autism. There's some really cool people that we're supporting. And before you support me, I encourage you to support them, because that's going to support my vision too. So that is my number one plug, is support the racers, support the motorsports.
I love that. And I left all the links to everything down below in the description too. So
Yes.
if anybody wants to get involved in that, the links are down below. And like she said, if there's something that calls to you, then yeah, jump on board, support the team.
Yes. If what I'm talking about seems like something that you've got a connection for, like I said, I'm looking for speaking gigs and I'm looking for training gigs. So I would love to hear about any opportunities. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn. Otherwise, my social handles, I know he's got in the show notes, as well as the links out to our race team too. Our race team loves fans, loves support. But if you are aligned with our values, so
Yes.
we're going to keep talking about that niche piece.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. I love it. And Rich says too, if you ever come to Tucson, Arizona, please let us know. Would love to come root on your team. That's where I'm at too. So,
Yes.
being born and raised in the dirt like this, that's the fun stuff for us.
Yes, we just raced our very first West Coast race. We were out at Glen Helen. I know you know that one from motocross.
Legendary.
Yes, so it was it was absolutely amazing. We've also been out. We've got Chris's King of the Hammers trophy behind me here. When they raced short course out there, we raced exhibition, which was really cool. But those have been our only events out on the West Coast so far. But I hear rumblings. I don't think 2026, but I think 2027 we might be out in Arizona at Firebird.
Ooh.
That is race rumors. I will say 80% of race rumors turn out to be true. So
I love it. Well, you've got a team here to root you on.
yeah.
We'll have our bellies painted,
Yeah, purple.
Yeah, we got you covered. Very nice. Tracy Ward says, I can't see contact info. It should be in the description of the video. You're on Facebook, it looks like. So on YouTube, you'll see it in the description there. Facebook, it should just be in the header up above the video, if that's where you're at. But yeah, thank you again, Amanda, for coming on the show. And again, as you continue to move forward in whatever lane it is, if there's anything that People Helping People here can do to support you, I can help you build out the podcast side of things, let you know some of the things that I've utilized to acquire sponsors on this end. My
Yeah.
door is open. If you ever have any hangups or whatever, I'm a phone call away, Facebook message, whatever. But yeah, we're here for you.
I appreciate that. And likewise, I told you this on the call before we came on here, but my corporate connections, especially, I've got a ton of really cool nonprofit connections that I would love to put you in touch with if you're looking for more guests or really cool stories. I have a couple people in mind that I think would be really good fits.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always looking to broaden our horizons, in whatever lane it is. So we just acquired a nonprofit ourselves. It's called Driven to Give, and we're trying to raise enough money right now to hand the keys to a family in need by December. So
Cool.
Christmas time. So we're trying to figure out like what event we're going to do it. But yeah, we're getting the gears turning there.
Yes.
But before we let you go, Amanda, is there anything that you would like to leave with the audience?
Ooh, this is my moment.
And you can take a second too. That's a big question.
It is a big question. I think just one of the most impactful things for me, I feel like I've come from nothing. I grew up very poor as a kid, and the things for me that have delivered the most value, most satisfaction, and the most money, I will say, they come hand in hand, and that is the connections that I've made. Whether that's with my amazing husband who brought me into this wild world of motorsports, or any of the people that we've met along the way, the race family that we've built. I cannot stress enough just how important it is to find the people that are your people, and they'll lift you up and put you where you have never dreamed you could be. And the satisfaction comes, but the money follows the satisfaction.
Oh, come on. So good. Amanda, thank you so much for gracing our show with your presence and giving us all this incredible information. I hope that everybody at home took as much from this conversation as I did, and we will absolutely have to have you back on the show. If you guys have guests on your show, I'm more than happy to come spew whatever it is that you want to hear from me. And we're here to collaborate and converse. So if there's anything that we can do for you, you let us know. And I just appreciate you coming on to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that the universe put us together.
Absolutely. And let us know when you want to come back on. If you ever got anything big coming up, we got you. All right.
It sounds good. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda, take care. Wow. Inspiring, huh? Gosh, to hear such out of the box thinking when it comes to business is such a cool thing. So I want to thank Amanda Van Den oh gosh, that's why I didn't even try. Sorry, Amanda. Butchered it. But I want to thank Amanda for coming on to the show. So real quick, you guys, let's talk about tonight's sponsors. This show is sponsored by Mike Cylkowski. He's your local partner in getting your message in front of the right people. Mike specializes in helping businesses right here in Southern Arizona reach their ideal customers through TV and streaming services. He's not just sponsoring this chapter 3 of People Helping People, he's building partnerships, and he doesn't succeed unless you do. So if you're ready to grow your business with someone who is invested in your success, call Mike directly at 515-305-5311. Again, that's 515-305-5311. And if you own any kind of business in Arizona at all, just call Mike. See how he can help you. And listen, you guys, I don't just have anybody sponsor this show. I've declined multiple sponsors just based on our alignment. So I want to bring you guys the best of whatever it is that I find that I think would benefit you guys most. So thank you, Mike, for sponsoring the show. They're a proud representative. This episode is also sponsored by T-Town Boxing. It's Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. T-Town Boxing isn't just a gym, it's a community where you can build confidence, discipline, and lifelong skills. From kids to adults, beginners to experienced fighters, T-Town Boxing offers a space to grow, train, and challenge yourself. So, if you're ready to push your limits and join an amazing community, reach out to T-Town Boxing on Instagram at instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Again, instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. And the links for all of these, including Mike Cylkowski's phone number, everything's in the description. Everything from Amanda is in the description as well. And this episode, sorry. Let's rephrase that. This episode is also sponsored by the Diabetes Network of Arizona. It's a community built by people with type 1 diabetes for people with type 1 diabetes. They're home to Arizona's only family camp for type 1 diabetics, Camp ASDA, which we are all very familiar with, giving kids and families a place to connect, learn, and feel understood. Every dollar raised stays right here in Arizona, helping our neighbors and loved ones. Last year, they provided scholarships for families to attend camp, delivered thousands of life-saving diabetic supplies, and launched programs that protect, foster youth, and support schools across the state. Because no family should ever face diabetes alone, and with your help, they don't have to. You can make a difference today. The donation link is below in the description. That's the Diabetes Network of Arizona. Build a stronger, healthier Arizona together. And those guys, well, I feel like we've been working hand in hand since the beginning of People Helping People with not actually knowing each other. So the CEO of Diabetes Network of Arizona reached out to me, and I was like, let's get it going. Let's get it going. We raised over $3,800 for these kids to go to camp in a little over 15 days because of our auction. And you guys, very, very grateful for that. And they caught wind of that or caught wind of the show, and now they are a sponsor. So it was beautiful. It was really a full circle moment. And we're going to be having a phone call later on about how we can come up with something fun to raise some money for the Diabetes Network of Arizona. So we'll figure that out. That's all happening on the back end of things. But I hope everybody enjoyed this conversation. This was incredible. You know, it doesn't matter how hard the days are. I come on to here and just have such a good time. So no matter how hard life gets, I enjoy sitting here talking with my people and hopefully helping people. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And as you guys know, this show is live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you or somebody you know would like to be a part of the show, please reach out to us on Instagram. I'll put that down at the bottom here. Let's see. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, that is really what helps us out. We're trying to get to our 4,000 watch hours. We're almost at 1,100 subscribers now. Remember when we hit 1,000, we are growing exponentially, and it's really something special, you guys. So again, my hat's off to everybody that's here, and I thank you all for joining this episode of People Helping People, and we will catch y'all on Friday, 6 p.m. PST. Deuces.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.